I was lured into a stranger's car.
Okay.
I did
How did that happen, Justin?
I was walking down the road, had my headphones on. I used to do a lot of walking around the neighborhood listening to music. And this guy comes over and he's like, hey, and he is strange dude, older white guy. He has a white van. The back doors of the van are open. And he's like, hey, could you come over and help me put this rubber mat down in the back of the van? And I'm like, this is clearly a trap. I've seen this on Silence with the Lambs. I've seen this. This is how Buffalo Bill lured the one woman. And I was like, this is it. Naturally, I say yes.
Welcome back to Mildly Alarmed. I'm Nina here with Justin again. And we've got some good content lined up this week, I think. On Multiverse of Merriment, we're going to be talking about Mortal Kombat 2.
Yes.
Absolute Green Arrow, the Odyssey trailer that just came out, and UFOs, because the government just released some documents, so that sounds like fun.
Aliens. The History Channel is licking their lips.
I don't think so.
They were like,
based on what we saw, but but we'll talk about that in Multiverse of Merriment. On turn 4, we're going to talk about all things Watkins Glen this week, which is my favorite track, so I'm excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
But today, on Mildly Alarmed, we are talking about the loneliness epidemic, which I feel like it's usually in pop culture referred to as the male loneliness epidemic, but the research suggests that it's about everyone. So we're going to talk about everyone. But to start, we are millennials who like to be nostalgic about everything all the time. Justin, what were some of your favorite memories growing up?
So growing up, some of my favorite memories were of hanging out with friends in the neighborhood. I grew up in a neighborhood in the rural parts of Fuquay, Varina. And in that neighborhood, kind of lived close to a cul-de-sac, and there was, tons of kids my age. Got lucky there. And I just remember hanging out with them. We did all kinds of things. Of course, there was the classic, we rode our bikes. Everybody would get together, ride the bikes, moving, roaming around the neighborhood, kind of like that, like the kids from E.T. That's kind of what it felt like. We would race each other on those things. I remember, we had a golf cart, and that was fun. We would ride around on the golf cart sometimes, but playing Army, we lived near some woods, so we would always go out into the woods and play Army, build forts. Those deals, go camping. It was a good time. It was a really, really fun time, of doing and hanging out and felt kind of like living in, I don't know, a Stephen King novel in the first part where all the kids are like hanging out in the woods and stuff. I don't know. It was just a really, it was a really good time. And I was glad to have that childhood experience of going out into the summer would come along, and I was a gamer, but I didn't spend a ton of time indoors. We spent a lot of time outside, playing football, basketball, baseball, all of which I was terrible at. I was not athletic at all. But it was a good time. I just was happy to be running around, and we would stay out until the street lights would come on. And then when the street lights would come on, that was when it was time to go inside. But those are some really happy memories when I look back on it, of going out in the woods, playing Army, being adventurous, camping, those kinds of things, using the imagination. I don't know. It was a fun time. I think of it fondly. What about you? What did y'all do in Connecticut for fun?
I mean, we also had the snow, right? But we would play in the snow. No, I mean, it was a lot of the same things. I remember some of my happiest memories are hanging out with my friend Caroline when I was very young. Her mom was a genius at giving us things to do that seemed fun. I don't know how she thought these things up, but I mean, they weren't, I don't know, out of the ordinary, really, but she was just like, every time I would go over to her house, she'd be like, you girls should do this. And we'd be like, awesome. And just go off and do it. Yeah. For example, One time, her older sister was going on a date. She was meeting some guy at, like, a park. They were just gonna go walk around the park that was, like, kind of across the street, and, so her mom was like, "Here, take one of these walkie-talkies, go spy on your sister."
That
So,
does sound fun.
she was like, "Don't get caught." So we just, like,
That's
ran
fun.
around and,
So
like, played secret agent spying on her sister on this date and then, like, reporting back via the
I
walkie-talkie.
I loved playing secret agents. My friend John at the time, he got one of those spy kits for like his birthday or something, and it came with, you know, a notepad, a pencil. It came with this like microphone gun thing where you could point it and you could pull the trigger and it would activate this like, you know, directional microphone condenser mic so you could aim it at someone's conversation and like listen in a little bit. So we played with that thing for a while where we would, my sister and her friend would be hanging out and we would try to like spy on them and like aim the little microphone and just kind of like listen to what they were talking. I don't think they were ever talking about anything all that interesting, girl stuff, I don't think they were ever talking about anything all that fascinating, but we thought it was fun to kind of
Yeah.
spy on them. Did y'all play pretend? Did y'all pretend to be anything? So like for us, um, Hercules and Xena and X-Files were big when we were kids. So we would all play that. So like someone was Hercules. I was usually, I can't remember the dude's name, but there was Hercules and there was like his little sidekick dude, the blonde little sidekick dude. That was me. There was a girl, Whitney, and another girl, Ashley, and they would be like Xena and her little friend. And we would all play like Hercules and whatnot. And then one of us would be like Mulder and Scully. And we were like, did y'all ever play pretend or anything like that to pretend to be characters?
We did occasionally. My mom had a friend who I used to go over to their house, like, while my mom was at work now and then, and, she had 2 kids, Justin, who's, like, about my age, I think, and then Lindsay, who's a little bit younger than us, and we would pretend to be Power Rangers.
Oh,
I was always
yeah.
the Yellow Ranger, Justin was the Blue Ranger, and, Lindsay was the Pink Ranger, I think,
I was the Blue
and
Ranger too when we would play Power
yeah.
Rangers. I was always the Blue Ranger. I like the Blue Ranger. Which one were you again? Did you say you were the Yellow Ranger?
Mhm.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, nice. I
Yeah,
loved
so
Power
we
Rangers. Yeah, we
we
loved
played
Power
Power
Rangers.
Rangers. I don't remember playing a ton of other make-believe kinds of things with my friends, uh, but we would, like I think there was, like, one birthday party where we dressed up as, like, Disney princesses or something just for fun, but,
Fun.
like, besides that, it was just a lot of, like, listening to music and playing board games and, like, just,
Yeah.
running around the neighborhood and having races with your friends and other, like, stuff like that, so
Yeah. There was always
going
some way to
sledding,
find
it
sledding.
was
We didn't do a
Connecticut.
ton of that. Didn't do a ton of that growing up in North Carolina. There would happen every now and again, and at the back of the neighborhood, there was a street that ran kind of behind the neighborhood, and it turned into a dirt road, and it would go down this massive hill, and there was a creek at the bottom,
Mm,
and we would sled down there when it would happen. And I remember one night, this was fun. I remember this was a good memory. I remember one night it snowed, and it was a pretty substantial snow, and a lot of the people in the neighborhood went to this part of the neighborhood. They built a bonfire, and everybody was hanging out and everybody's sledding, and we're going down the hill. But you had to hit the hill just right because if you missed it, if you went off the path, you went into the creek. So there was a little bit of danger involved, which was also
mm.
fun. But you could get a ton of speed going down this hill. But one of the wives got on it, and of course, she ate shit at the bottom of the hill. She went right into the creek. She just couldn't turn, and I remember them screaming, "Turn, turn!" And she just ran out of
Oh,
talent
no.
and just went right into the creek. And I remember like laughing and adults being like, "Stop laughing." There was a lot of stories of me as a kid just laughing at people's misfortune, and then stop laughing. But I thought it was the funniest thing just watching her go off the side of the.
I mean, watching
I mean,
people
because
kind of eat shit while sledding is pretty funny,
it
and
was
we did a lot
funny
of that.
because it was the feet that did it for me because the last thing you see is just her feet just go up into the air and then disappear. I just thought that was the funniest image. It's
That
just
is pretty
gone.
funny.
But
At,
good times.
in Connecticut, we had, Horse Barn Hill,
Horse Barn
which
Hill.
is owned by the University of Connecticut, actually. Like the hill is theoretically owned by UConn.
Okay.
Um, but it's like the best place to sled in that area because the hill is dramatic. So like, I mean, it's huge. That
Yeah.
when you drive into the University of Connecticut from a certain direction, you basically like hit the top, and then it's like a almost vertical decline down a road to drive into the University of Connecticut.
Jesus.
And the hill, Horsebarn Hill, mimicked a lot of that, but it was also where they had like the cows pasture. It was an agricultural school to start with, so they had like the cows, the horses, the whatever. Everything was over there, and you could just like go over there and hang out as a student or as a member of the community. Like they didn't really care. But that was where if there was like a good snow day, half
That's where
the town would be over there on
that's
Horsebarn
where they're
Hill,
at.
just sledding down the street. It's
Yeah.
also where they have the Yukon Dairy Bar, where they make their own ice cream, and it is
Fun.
some of the best ice cream in Connecticut for sure.
NC State makes their own ice cream, and they sell it at the state fair, and it's some of the best ice cream. There's always a line that goes halfway across the state trying to get it, whenever they do it. So NC State also, who is also an agricultural school,
Yeah.
also makes good ice cream.
I think if you were old enough as a university, you probably started as an agricultural school. Like
Agricultural
if you have a
school.
start date in the 17 or 1800s, you are an agricultural
Agriculture,
university to start.
for sure.
But yeah, no, I was thinking about this the other day because as I was thinking about like the loneliness epidemic and what we were losing, I was thinking about all of the things that, like all of the memories I have, because I did spend a ton of time alone as a
Mhm.
kid. And like there was a ton of time just like in my room singing or creating something or watching Netflix or just hanging out. Like there was
Mhm.
just a ton of time spent alone because we lived in the middle of nowhere. So it wasn't like I could just walk over to my friend's house. But um all of the memories I have that I like look back on as being super happy are the ones that were with friends. And that
Yeah.
includes like college too.
Yeah, you don't
Like
remember the times you were alone too much doing something.
no. So I there are always headlines that come out all the time about how lonely people are getting, and it seemed to start around the pandemic because we all became like terrified of other people and the fact that they would give us germs and like kill our family members. But it doesn't seem to have gotten any better post pandemic. We all just found out that we could live alone fairly easily, not have to leave the house, not have to stress about social situations,
Yeah.
and decided that like we were good. Just a couple of like statistics that hit me. Americans now spend fewer than 3 hours a week with friends, down from 6+ hours a decade ago. Uh, and this was labeled as being people having also the fewest close friends in 30 years,
Mm.
which is crazy. Um, Adults reporting zero close friends grew from 12% in 2021 to 17% in 2024. And it's apparently still accelerating post pandemic. But there were a lot of the details in the articles were like, but where would anyone meet friends nowadays? So, like, we,
Yeah, that's
we
what I
moved
was.
out of cities, we moved into this like suburban sprawl, and cities and towns and suburbs aren't doing as much to kind of create community as they used to. So, there's like few community centers, parks, churches. People don't even go to like physical workplaces anymore often. Um, and there's like a weird, really intense parenting culture. Like when you and I were kids, our parents would just let us, they'd be like, go outside.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't want to deal with you
get out of my
anymore.
sight.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
go outside. Go play.
shutting the door, and you can't come in.
Yeah, I don't want to hear about you for 3 to 4 hours.
Yeah,
Just go play with your friends.
yeah, can't
And so
come
you would
inside.
just go outside and you would wander the neighborhood. You maybe go knock on your friend's door and be like, can so and so come out and play?
Yeah, because I'm
And
bored.
yeah,
I'm stuck out here. They might as well be too.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what you would do. But like now, there was that case. I don't remember where this was from, but do you remember that case where like a woman sent her, or like she was away from home or something, and her kid walked a mile to a local store to buy something,
Yeah,
and
yeah, I do
like
remember
they
this.
arrested her
Yeah, that's
because
crazy.
her kid was unaccompanied, and I was like, for real? Like he was like 12 or something, and I was just like, my friend and I at like 8 we're riding our bikes down the road to like the local farm stand. There was like a little farm stand that had like vegetables and stuff, but they also sold candy and shit. So we would just ride our bikes down there with like the $3 or something that our parents had given
I'm giving
us.
you.
Go find something, ride our bikes back. That thing about going to the park, I mean, we were running all over creation. We had the little walkie-talkie to communicate, but like no one was watching us. But nowadays, like people are
Helicopter parent.
hovering so much and they like don't want their kids to go anywhere or do anything, or like everyone's paranoid about everybody else.
Mm.
So
Do
just
you
like no
well?
one is making friends.
Do you think? I don't know. Do you think it was a different time that we grew up in? Were people as dangerous? I don't
Of
know.
course
I
they
grew
were.
so we didn't do anything like that as kids, but we lived outside of the city limits of town. You know, so there's no like getting on your bike and riding to the store. That would have taken a while for us to do, but we were on our own for a long period of time, roaming through the woods.
Yeah.
Half a mile away from the house, walking down railroad tracks, walking into the trees, woods, doing all that kind of stuff, staying out there all night long, camping, walking back. I mean, so there was that kind of stuff, but we couldn't just go to the store, but that was also just a location issue. But yeah, I feel like, to your point, we were kind of unsupervised for hours at a time.
And there were still reports about bad things happening. I mean, there was that, don't get lured into a stranger's car, don't accept candy from strangers. Like there was
Which I did.
that shit out there. You accepted candy from strangers.
I was lured into a stranger's car.
Okay.
I
How
did
did
you
how did that happen, Justin?
I was walking down the road. I told this story recently on Chuckle, but I was walking down the road, had my headphones on. I used to do a lot of walking around the neighborhood listening to music. Um, and I was walking down the road, and this guy comes over, and he's like, "Hey," and he is strange dude, older white guy. He has a white van. The back doors of the van are open. And he's like, "Hey, I need you. Could you come over and help me put this rubber mat down in the van, in the back of the van?" And I'm like, this is clearly a trap. I've seen this on Silence with the Lambs. I've seen this. This is how Buffalo Bill lured the one woman. And I was like, this is it. Naturally, I say yes. So I go over to help him, and he's like, "All right, here's what I want you to do. You climb in the van, and you go to the far end of the van and pull, and I'll push the mat in." And I'm like, okay, works for me. I climb into the van. I go to the back. I'm scared half to death. I pull the rubber mat, and I'm thinking, once we get it in there, he's shutting the doors, and that's it. That's end of story. I'm a
Mm.
statistic on a milk carton. This is how it ends. But no, he was like, "Thanks for your help." And I was
I
like, gosh, that could have been really bad.
Yeah. I want to say I wasn't that dumb as a kid, but I also have a story of me doing something really stupid. So, uh, high school. Uh, my high school takes the music department and like the drama department, I think, to New York on a field trip. And
Fancy.
yeah, I mean, well, New York's right there. We're in Connecticut. But
Oh, okay. That would have been crazy for us.
so we were going to go see Wicked on Broadway, which was great, by the way. Um,
Fancy. I stand
yeah.
by it.
I mean, it was paid for by parents. Like our parents had to scrape together money to afford this, but it was the like yearly trip, so they knew about it like the first thing in the school year, and then they could like make payments on it throughout, I think. But anyway, we go to New York. We're going to Wicked, and I don't know why they thought this was a good idea, but they take us to Chinatown and they
Okay.
go, "Be free. Wander
Rome,
around
Chinatown?
Chinatown. You can go through these like 2 blocks. We're going to have teachers stationed at like either end, but you can go up and down these 2 blocks and like buy things if you want, or just roam around if you want, whatever."
Mhm.
So my friend Sarah and I brought some kind of bag with me, but it had ripped or something, and I needed to buy a new one. So I was like, great, we're in Chinatown. There's like vendors with cheap knockoff shit everywhere. I'll just go buy some cheap knockoff bag to put all my stuff in. So Sarah and I start wandering around Chinatown, and we find this one like outdoor stall that has a bunch of bags, and we're looking through them. And this woman comes up to us and she goes like, "Oh, we've got a bunch more in the back. Do you want to see them?" We were kind of like, "Sure." Like, in the back where? Because like
In
it's
the
a really
back.
small stand. Like I don't yeah,
Yeah.
sure. So Sarah, luckily I had a friend with me, but Sarah and I follow this lady. We end up having to almost like crawl through this tiny door to get to the back.
Yeah.
But like she's kind of shorter than us, so she like just bends down and like gets through this, and I'm like, okay, this is probably not a good idea because like you can't tell that this is a door from the outside. It's like basically just part of the wall. And we like wander in there and we kind of look around for a second, but both of us had the like alarm bells going off,
We're
and we
gonna
were
end
like,
up like the
oh,
movie Taken.
I actually saw something out there that I wanted to buy, so
Can we go back out?
let's go back out there.
Yeah.
And luckily, I guess they really were trying to sell us and not like pull us into some kind of trafficking thing because
Yeah.
they let us out and we bought the bag and we left. But yeah, it was not a smart thing to do. But my point being, there were still things that could get you in the 90s and early 2000s. I just don't think that people were as paranoid about it at the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
People were more trusting of each other.
Back then, for sure.
Yeah. I don't know. We've talked about it a lot on this show thus far. I don't know if we get we get that back.
I don't either. I don't really know how I mean, it does seem. I don't have. We don't have kids, but it does seem more dangerous. Like I feel like I'd be less trusting of people, even though I grew up in a time where, latchkey kid, where we had the freedom to, come and go, and my sister and I would be at home by ourselves,
Mhm.
often,
As was I. Yeah.
because parents are working and we're home. I don't know. I don't know if I would be as trusting. I mean, I feel like, yes, I would feel like if I had a kid, it'd be more like, hey, go and do. We live in a pretty good neighborhood, and there's things close by. I feel like the communities that people are living in are coming to them. Like I don't think there's many too rural communities left anymore. Things are starting to compile on top of each other. But I don't know.
Yeah.
People do seem crazier to me, I guess. The
Well,
older
we
I've
see a lot
gotten.
more of it thanks to social
Yeah.
media.
Yeah, we
And the
see.
crazy is the stuff that gets put in front of our eyeballs.
Mm-hmm. We do
You're not going to
see.
see someone just living an average day
Yeah.
on Instagram.
But you were talking about those statistics earlier, and I feel like I meet some of those. I don't have. Looking at it now, I don't really have any close friends that I hang out with. There's people who I see at work. There's work friends, but we don't really hang out outside of that. And I don't
Maybe not a
communicate really.
lot,
Say what?
but maybe not a lot. But I mean, you. I guess it depends how you're defining friend. If you're counting like your brother-in-law, for instance, as family instead of friend.
Yeah,
But
I
like,
see. I see them more,
yeah,
brother-in-law, sister. We hang out with them probably more, but as far as like a friend, I don't communicate with really any friends that I grew up with anymore. Kind of fallen out with them. I had one friend who I was friends with for a very long time from high school, but don't really talk to her anymore either because, that situation got a little cray. But but yeah, I don't really hang out with anybody ever.
yeah,
Um, yeah, there are times where it would probably be nice to go and hang out with folks, but I know that like people my age, I just don't know if we would want to. I don't know if getting everyone's schedules together
yeah,
can be tricky, and sometimes the idea of hanging out seems better than actually hanging out because it's exhausting.
I don't think that's true, though. When was the last time you hung out with someone and thought, "Ugh, that was such a fucking waste of my time"? Ever?
Well, yeah, there have been some times, but it's not been
But
recently.
actual friends, not just, like, random dates or people that you don't know.
Yeah, okay, yeah, real friends. No, yeah, it's always been fun.
Right,
I'd like to do it more,
right.
but yeah, I don't really have like a ton of friends. I really don't. I don't know how that kind of happened. I know that during COVID, this is interesting. I think the happiest year of my life was 2020 for me. I know that's weird to say, but for
Yeah.
me, I thrived in that. Um,
Yeah.
they sent us all home, so I was working from home, and I stayed really busy during that time, like because I was already doing at the time my primary job was virtual conferences, but I would just conference in other sites. Well, when got sent home, everything was virtual. So I became the man. I was doing everything. I was super busy all the time. I mean, from sun up to sundown, I was facilitating something, but I was having a blast. And I
Yeah.
got into a routine that was fun because the busiest day there, I was still sitting in my house. In between meetings, I could pick up the guitar.
Right. I mean,
You
some
know, I
people
could,
loved that and other people hated it.
I
I was
loved it.
also in the camp of people that loved it, but my entire job could have been done virtually the entire time, so that wasn't any different. But interestingly enough, we did have our, like, best year ever in 2020 as a
I did.
company because everybody was, like, more relaxed and chill and wasn't spending 2 hours battling through traffic to get to and from work.
Yeah.
But there there was also definitely a falling off of social interaction. Like, I tried to see at least a few friends,
Hmm.
but I think all millennials, we are in this, like, headspace of most of the friends that we have, and this is probably true for everyone, but most of the friends we have, we made either when we were kids or when we were in college
Hmm.
or potentially when we were at work actually going to the office.
Hmm.
And outside of that, we don't have any new friends. But once we got to the point where we got to COVID in 2020 and people got sent home, and then suddenly they were like, "We don't really care if you ever come back. You can move wherever you want as long as you want to keep your job. Just let us know what state you're moving to." Once that happened, everybody got spread out. So, like, even the people that I would have hung out with that were work acquaintances that became friends, suddenly we were living in different states. So, like,
Mm.
those friendships go away. And the people from college moved other places. So, even if I had stayed in Connecticut, those friendships are in other states or countries. Uh, Everybody got really spread out. And there's really no mechanism currently to meet new people
Hmm.
besides like apps and shit. Like, there's not a lot of local, like, community driven events where you would go and meet people. And especially because, ironically, I think most of us, if we're going somewhere alone, we actually don't want to meet anyone. We just want to go do our thing
Mm.
alone. We want to go put on our headphones,
That's a good
watch our
point.
little screens,
That's a good
eat
point.
our food or whatever. And we don't want to interact with anybody around us. And this is kind of reflected in the, like, kind of global solo travel industry that's developed, of which you especially have taken part in, but
I have.
I've also, done the occasional solo hike and stuff. How did that feel like for you to travel alone? Because you went to Alaska.
It was scary at first, but it was awesome actually. Um I had hit a point. I felt like the character in a movie, a rom com or something. I felt like a character in that because I'd hit a point where I was like, I was doing the online dating thing and none of it had gone well. And I recently had a tremendous heartbreak. So I was like, fuck it, I'm going to Alaska. Something I want to do. That's something I
Yeah.
want to do. I have the money. I'm going to Alaska. So I found a travel agent and told her what I wanted to do, and she set everything up, and I paid her, and she had it all planned. So I did that several months out. Funny enough, I met you, and then I was like, "Oh, by the way, I have to go to Alaska by myself now." But the trip itself, it was scary at first because one, hadn't really flown much in my life. So
Yeah.
this was the first time that I would be on a plane by myself, and like the second time ever I would be on a plane. So I had a lot of anxiety about that. But as I got into the actual trip, when I got to Alaska and got on the ship and I started doing things, I absolutely loved it because I found that if I wanted to do something, I just did it. I didn't have to be like, well, what do you want to do? What does the group want to do? Do we want to go
Right.
eat here? Do we want to go do this thing? Do we want to go look at this? There's none of that shit. I was just like, if I wanted to do something, I did it. If I didn't want to do it, I didn't do it. I did exactly whatever I wanted to do. I made fun for myself. And there were times when I just sat in the cabin, um, enjoying the view from the balcony, watching the pretty mountains go by. And there was times when I was just roaming the ship around, just being like, let me see what I can go into. There was a group on the ship, though, where they advertised it that solo travelers could go there and hang out together. And I did go to this thing, but I ended up being the only one there. So,
Everyone else didn't want to come out of their rooms.
no, and they scheduled it at a weird time that was 9 o'clock at night.
Oof.
And it's like,
No.
I'm on like a 4 hour time zone change for me. So 9 o'clock at night is very late for me because I'm
Yeah.
still getting used to the fact that I'm like 4 hours difference from what I'm used to. But yeah, no, it was great fun. I had a good time. Parts there were parts that sucked, and the parts that sucked were just when you were done with something that was really fun. I found that emotionally, I was like, I shared this experience with no one
Mm.
other than myself.
Yeah.
But it was still fun, and I was still proud of myself for going all the way across the country. Someone who hasn't traveled that much out of the state, especially alone, getting on a plane, going all the way to the other side of the country, and successfully being able to do that, having a good time, and coming back. I was proud of myself for doing it, and I did have a good time. But there were times where I would see something, think of someone like, oh man, such and such would love this. And it would just be me. And there would be, no one to. But I found that I made my own routine. I'd get up in the morning, go downstairs, grab a donut and you know, drink and, have
Yeah.
lunch. And so
I
from that
think
part, it
that
was fun.
I think that my experience of doing some kind of activity or traveling alone was pretty much the same. When we first moved to North Carolina, I didn't know anyone, and I love to hike, and that wasn't really a thing I could do in Charleston, South Carolina. So I was like, all right, we've made it to a state where there are actual mountains around. I'm
Hmm.
going to do some hiking. It's going to
Yeah.
be great. But I have no one to go with, which, ironically, as I was looking up stuff for this episode, I found the statistic that 55% of women said they traveled solo simply because they had no one to go with, which was
There's a
definitely
reason.
my thing. Um, but I did have my dog, Sasha, my lovely husky.
Hmm.
So, on a rather cool day, me and the husky went up to Virginia to Hanging Rock State Park. And I was not fully prepared for the fact that it's pretty much like a mile vertical climb
Hmm.
to the top of Hanging Rock. So it was a struggle to make it to the top, but like we made it. But I was proud of myself for making it. I was proud of the dog for making it more than
Yeah.
anything. She's got those tiny legs compared to me. And there were times when like there's a point at Hanging Rock where there's literally just a bunch of rocks that you
Yeah.
have to like climb. And so here I am with the dog, and I'm like, well, the dog's 70 pounds. I'm not picking up the dog to carry her. So we're going to have to figure out how to do this. And so I kind of just let her lead. And she
Hmm.
was pretty good at it. She would like, she would scope out all of the
Test it.
rocks. You would see her like doing the math that, like cats, when they're trying to
Yeah.
figure out how to jump to something, they do the math. Uh, she was doing the math, and she would pick a spot, and I would just follow her, and that's how we got up the rest of the mountain.
Yeah.
And we get to the top, and like I give her all of my water because I feel so bad that I made her climb all the way up here because I had no idea what it was going to be like. And so I'm like dying, but I'm happy that she's okay. And I just look around, and it was beautiful. But at the same time, I was like, no one but me and this dog will ever know what we just went through. It's an interesting experience doing those types of things alone because, like, you can be really proud of yourself. You can feel very empowering, but at the same time, there's like that tinge of loneliness
Hmm.
seems to always creep in just a little
Yeah.
bit.
I know what you mean because, to be honest, I'm pretty good about being by myself. And then that's because, I was single for a long time, and
Yeah.
my friends would be in relationships. Um, Friends were getting married, and I'm not even dating anyone. And so that would sometimes, force me to do things by myself only because like they're starting their lives and they're getting married and doing these things. And it was hard to, like I said, to get the schedules to line up because I've got nothing but time because I'm not dating anyone. I don't have kids. I'm not in a relationship or anything. So I've got nothing but time, but they're having to prioritize like their families, their lives, their things that they're wanting to do. And so things just didn't line up anymore. And then they just kind of fade away and you lose contact with them. But then you're still here. So when I moved out to Raleigh, I was by myself a good majority of the time. Um, and so I had to do things on my own like that. Like for example, I remember every Friday for years, I would go to the movies by myself. So every Friday, work would end. That morning when I got to work, I'd pull up my Fandango app and I would find the movie that night playing at the Raleigh Grand at, and I would get me a ticket and I would get off work and go over to the movies and I'd watch the movies and then I'd take myself out to eat. That was every Friday night. And then when I, became single again during that year of trying to online date, I developed new routines that I did. Every Monday, I would go eat sushi. Every Tuesday, I would go over to the Mexican place that I liked. And then, like, I developed, like, every night I'm going to do this thing, but they were the same things.
Mm.
And that felt comfortable. Like, it felt
Yeah.
comfortable doing the same things. But I'm doing them by myself, and they're in places basically, like I was saying in the online dating episode, even meeting friends was about as hard as trying to meet someone to date because, the only places I was really going was the gym, the grocery store, or maybe out to eat. And those places are difficult to meet people. But that became my life, this very structured routine thing of like, every Friday morning, I go to First Watch or
Yeah.
something, you know? But yeah, like it was meeting people is difficult now for whatever reason. I do not know why that is. I mean, why is it so hard now? Because I mean, before people had apps and stuff, um, people were meeting each other just fine back in the 90s and 80s and 70s. I don't know why it's so difficult now, but it seems impossible with the way our lives are so structured at the moment. I don't know
It
why that
does.
is.
Yeah.
Were lives
So
not as structured 20 years ago? I mean, like, what is it?
no,
What
but
is,
we were forced to interact more. Like, if you wanted to do something in the 70s, 80s, or 90s, if you wanted to see a movie, if you wanted to go, I don't know, do anything really, work out, whatever, you had to leave the house to do it. There were
yeah,
no app there you could, maybe there were workout videos in the 80s you could pop into the VCR,
there
but like
definitely were workout videos in the 80s.
yeah, but
That was a
but
thing.
like otherwise you were going to the gym, you were taking a class, you were like you had to go physically see a movie. You couldn't just turn on Netflix. It didn't exist.
Yeah.
Like you were forced out of your house if you wanted to have any fun at all. and you're not anymore. You can do anything you want to do just sitting in front of your computer at home, kind of. You can live a virtual life, for lack of a better phrase. But and I mean, even now, like if you think about the ways that people are making like friends these days, like you and I have talked about making friends via video games, which I don't discount those friendships because those I legitimately had some great times playing video games with people that I have never met IRL, but that you know, I met playing Destiny or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, but a lot of people are making friends or finding some kind of community through like apps and things. Like, I mean, there are like rent a friend apps and stuff now. That's not
Rent a
really what I'm
friend
talking
apps.
about. Um, but if you can find your niche, like say, I don't actually do this, but I know that Pod Save America has like a Discord. You could probably meet other people through
Other
there that feel
fans.
similarly to you. So you could
Yeah.
find your little echo chamber and meet friends through your echo chamber. But there's not really a ton of opportunity outside of like work, or
Hmm.
maybe if you still go to a physical gym to actually meet people. And it's kind of sad because I feel like even and especially now that AI is what it is. Um, I found an article that said that AI companion apps had surged 700% between 2022 and mid 2025.
Wow.
And character.ai, which I've never actually used, has 20
Neither have I.
million monthly users,
Wow,
more
that's
than
a
half
lot.
under 24. So,
It's a lot.
especially kids even now are using AI as a replacement for friends.
That
Um,
seems bad.
it does, but like the research, because it's so new, the research is kind of not sure what to do with it because it does. AI companions can like alleviate loneliness in the short term, but of course we've seen those articles where AI like will tell
Yeah,
kids that they should kill themselves and stuff like that. So they're like
but there's also
it's a double
like,
edged sword.
yeah, but there's also like the kids need to interact with other people. So not to say that all of them are this way, but when I, was doing a brief bit of teaching or would be in class in college with kids who were homeschooled, they were often stranger than everyone else. They were
Yeah,
often
they don't have like developed social.
right. They were off, and they struggled more in college school. They struggled with things, and I don't know. It almost has that same thing to it. If kids are going to enjoy talking to AI more than already, I think people have gotten strange anyway from just online interaction.
But let's think this through, right? You have a relationship with just AI. You have a relationship with ChatGPT, let's say.
Okay.
No matter what you say to ChatGPT, it's going to tell you that you are awesome and amazing, and whatever you thought was great, and whatever you did was great, and you're an amazing human person, and
Oh,
you're the best of everyone, and all your ideas are the greatest thing that ever happened to humanity. That's not a great. Once you
no.
actually meet a human in person
You're going
and
to be
try to develop a
disappointed in
friendship,
humans.
you're going to be
You're
extremely
very
disappointed
disappointed.
because your friends are not going to constantly blow smoke. They're not going
Mm-mm.
to constantly tell you that you're the greatest person in the world. They're going to hear an idea from you and go like, "That sucks. I don't think you should
No,
do that."
yeah, I mean, and my upbringing, there was definitely no blowing smoke on my ass as a kid. I guess it can have an opposite effect. You don't have any confidence in yourself,
Sure.
but at least I'm realistic about people and
Yeah,
interactions with people. I feel like I'm pretty actually, to say something about myself. You can disagree if you want. It's okay. But I actually think I'm pretty good with social interactions. I
you
mean,
are.
not to say that I'm not like awkward every now and again, but like I think understanding and being able to read rooms and emotions and interpret emotions, I think I'm pretty good at that. But I don't know. Like if you've never had that interaction with people and you're right, and you're just constantly being told what a nice little cherry blossom you really are, and everything is sunshine and rainbows, man, are you in for a rude awakening?
Yeah.
Because people are difficult. complicated creatures.
They are. I was thinking about this the other day too. Besides the AI companions, there's a lot of even like let's say you are meeting people through social media. It's hard, I think, for some people, especially when you're really young, to differentiate between I know this person and they are online
Hmm.
and I don't know this person and they are online because you're kind of interacting with them in the same way.
Yeah.
Like, uh, let's go with like, I don't know, any random member of BTS, for instance. I don't know those those people,
Right.
but they post all the time. I know what they're doing usually on any
Hmm.
given week. I don't watch them enough to know what they're doing on any given day, but I imagine that they post enough that some people would know what they're doing on any given day. Um, like there are there's that level of celebrity, right? They're like worldwide celebrities. There's another smaller level of celebrity where you're like Instagram or social media famous,
Hmm.
and those people do interact a ton with the people who
That's their
follow them.
job.
It's their job. So how do you differentiate between like that parasocial friendship kind of and a real one? If you're
Yeah.
kind of interacting with like someone you see on Instagram, or I'll take myself as an example. So when in 2020, even though I liked working from home, I also got divorced that year and I was alone for the first time in a while. And I was just like, I don't really know what to do with myself, but I really like um, kind of funny games. They're podcasters that talk about games and sort of tangentially, uh, they had this guy on whose handle is Snowbike Mike. He is great. Go watch
Hmm.
his channel. Um, but he would hang around and play video games. He had these two adorable dogs that he would sometimes put on camera, and he would just chat with the people like any Twitch streamer does in the chat. Um, and I would go hang out there sometimes because you could just chat with people. You would chat with people, other people in the chat. Sometimes he would respond to stuff you were saying in the chat. I eventually met and kind of made another friend through there that she also had a stream, so I would watch her sometimes. There was a third girl. I was very much into Twitch streaming for like a year of my life because I was lonely
Hmm.
and I just wanted people to hang out with. And I like video games. They were playing and talking about video games, so it was like a good space for me to hang out in. I don't watch any of those channels anymore. I don't stay in contact with those people. They were just,
They were
brief
there
parts
for a
of my
time in your
life.
life. Yeah.
Yeah. But, there are some people that do that for years on end. And, sometimes, like with Snowback Mike, I actually think that he probably remembers lots of the handles of people in his chats. And I know that Kind of Funny Games does. So when they meet these people in real life, they'll be like, oh, it's you.
Hmm.
But if you're a social media celebrity and you have hundreds of thousands of followers or whatever, you wouldn't know someone who randomly walked up to talk to you, even if
No,
they
but they
were
would know
in
you.
your comments all the time.
Yeah.
Um, there's just all these like kind of weird social relationships that we're forming that have nothing to do with real life. And like they can get us through things like the Twitch streamers did for me. Like they definitely helped me feel better for that year when I was super depressed. But they're not a replacement for like in real life long-term relationships.
Yeah.
Because once again, like they're there for the hype, they're there for the fun. Some streamers like Miss Envy, for instance, like she had a great kind of lean towards mental health. So people would often come to her channel and just talk about that while she was playing like Animal Crossing or something. So she genuinely tried to be like emotional support for people.
Hmm.
But some people,
That's a lot of
they're
pressure
just
to
there
put
for the
on.
fun. It's not their job. They're
No, that's a
not
lot of pressure
trained
to put on that person.
psychologists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of, but I mean, people do feel close. Something that, we didn't have growing up was that we had, stars that we liked to follow, people that we admired, whether they be race car drivers, actors, you name it. We had those types of people, but we didn't have contact with those people. You had to read about those people in magazines or see them on late night television shows or maybe find a website dedicated to them, those kinds of things. But now you do have a lot of access to those folks that you like. Most people have Instagram pages, YouTube channels, and they put their lives out there. So if you want to go see, what your favorite actor's up to, you can go do that. And then, like you said,
Yeah.
there's random people who you like to follow who maybe talk about things that you're also interested in, and they have channels dedicated to those things. And you have found your community through racing news or comic books or whatever it is that you might be into. You find someone who you connect with on that, and because that they're constantly posting all day long, I mean, only naturally would you feel like, I guess, that you had a special connection with this person and a friendship that's not real. But I feel like that's becoming something that happens quite a bit now, I guess. And the influencer is becoming just as famous as the actor these days.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But it's not inherently a bad thing to meet your community online. Like, I don't want to say that, because there are a lot of communities that started online only because it was not okay to be yourself in
I was a
public.
part of a Monopoly one.
It's very specific.
Yeah. I used to play. Had this friend who got me. He was a strange duck. This guy. He ended up being a casino poker player professionally,
Mm.
but he got me involved in this online community chat room thing where you would go on and you'd play Monopoly with strangers and you could chat, and we ended up playing for several months. I would hop on this thing and play Monopoly and talk to people, and I met friends, and I would play Monopoly with these folks online. It was very, very bizarre, but it was fun.
Yeah, I think my point is that it's not a bad idea to meet your community online. I just wish that more communities also held in-person events so that you could bring that community into real life, because like Kind of Funny is a great example of this. They actually do try to host in-person events, I think at least once a year. And people have made friends going to those events because we're all a bunch of fans of the same thing. We're all super nerds, so it's pretty easy to just like find a friend that has the same interest as you at these events. Um, and I just kind of wish there was more of that. Um,
I tried to go. It didn't work out because of that was the night we were going to see the Jurassic Park thing. But I started kickboxing, and I've been enjoying that, and I enjoyed going to that place. It's called 9 Round here in Holly Springs, and to give them a quick shout out. But they were holding like a community event where you could go and all hang out, and part of me was like, I really want to go to that. Now, like I said, I got spared it because it was the night we were going to the Jurassic Park Symphony, and I wasn't going to miss that. But part of it though, I did have anxiety about going to things like that. Like, I know that my old gym would hold events, and I kind of never went because I had a little bit of anxiety about going, because I'm like, I don't know anyone. I know that we're going to meet people. This is why we're going. We're going to like meet people who also go to this place. But I
yeah.
also don't like know anybody there, and I wouldn't know what to do to start conversation. Years ago when I was a filmmaker, I went to this thing. I was invited by another filmmaker to go to this after hours things for filmmakers only, and I ended up going, and like I didn't really know how to start a conversation.
Well, I think there are types of events that work and type of events that don't work. Like even your boxing gym example, well, what are you going to talk to those people about? It's not like you're all super fans of boxing. That's
Yeah,
not an
no.
interest. That's just a thing that you do,
With the thing that we do, you're
which is the
right.
same for writing and it's the same for filmmaking. Those are things that you do. Now, you might have an interest in them, but if you were going to say like a weekly movie club where you all like watch a film together and talk about it, or you all
I like
go
that. It seems more
see something
structured.
together and talk about it, something that like you're fans of something, you're thinking about like one thing together. You're sharing your joy of something together. Like those are good in-person events. Going to like something where you're all just going to talk about how great you are, or
That's what I'm
like
saying.
that there are some things that just don't work. But I think
Yeah,
that
that's
we've
what.
lost the ability to create these kind of in-person
Yeah,
experiences because we don't understand how to interact with other humans anymore.
yeah, that's the thing. That was always the problem. Like I would try these things, but I didn't end up liking them because of those reasons. Like if you,
Yeah.
like, I don't know if you know that most writers think that they're the greatest writer ever, and that's their deal. Me, maybe not so, but like I didn't know how to start. So you walk up to another person, you're like, "So what are you working on?" And then they would spend an hour telling you about their book, and it's like, I don't want to listen to
Yeah.
that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if the boxing studio does it again, I might go. I might make an effort and try. But there again, I don't know what I would say. Like walk in and be like, "So, how's everybody's punches these days? Anybody
Yeah.
wanna anybody wanna fight?"
But that's what I mean. Like that is different than like we should go the next time our local comic book store has an event.
Yeah,
Because
we should.
that's where you find other nerds who want to talk about comic books. And we all don't have the exact same interests, but we're all not there for ourselves. We're there because we love something else.
Mhm.
Thus, we can all go there and talk about something else. I think we almost need to retrain people on how to hold events and interact with each other
I think
because
so too. I think they think if we get
we're
all these people
so
together in a room, it's going to work. And it's like, well, what are we actually going to do when we get there? We all just going to blow each other about how good our books are? Like, what are we going to do?
everybody we live in a society where we're all performing all the time because we have these little phones all the time and we all feel like
Everyone's a
we're the main
celeb.
character in
Yeah.
our lives. So if you put a bunch of main characters in a room together, what are they going to do? Why would they interact with each other? You're the main character in their own story and everybody else is an NPC. But if you get people together for something else, for I don't know, you're going to a BTS concert, you're going to your local comic book store to talk about something or go to a signing, you're going to Comic-Con, you're going to something like if there's an event that is interesting and you are going there because it's your interest, then you have things to talk to the people around you because you can be like, I really love J-Hope. Let's talk about that. Who's your favorite member of BTS? Like
Yeah.
you have other things to talk about. You're not just talking about like yourself and your own personal journey and how
Which
amazing you are.
I
Like
do
nobody
not like to
cares.
do. I do not like to do.
So I don't know. I'm curious how the world has gotten very like that solo travel that we talked about earlier. It's apparently a $94 billion industry as of 2024. So
Mhm.
it's definitely gone up since then.
Yeah. It was fun.
Everyone is catering to the idea that we can do things alone, and I don't think that we should. And I'm not saying that we should discourage solo travel because you and I both had somewhat empowering experiences with solo travel, but we should also at the same time be encouraging more community
But could it
events.
also be a greater conspiracy to keep us all independent and separate from one another?
Yeah, I think we've already talked about that 100 times over on this show. You're doing the author thing, aren't you?
I don't
I
know.
just had the most amazing thought in the world. No, I don't know. What do we do?
Well, we should go hang out. Um, funny enough, I was actually. Do you remember at the comic book shop there was the guy who was the cashier? We'd talk to him every now and again. I kind of like that dude, and he turned out that he lived near us. I was actually going to ask him if he wanted to like come over and play a board game. Like I was trying to build up to that because I felt like this dude was pretty cool. I mean, he was a
Yeah.
little quirky. He wore like a gun vest that he kept like his cell phone in. I mean, that was a little quirky. That was a little odd, but I was like willing to overlook that
Yeah,
because I
he
was
seemed
like,
cool.
if we're into the same shit, like I don't have that many friends. Like maybe this guy could be cool, and he lived right across the street. So I was like, maybe this. But then he left.
Yeah.
Never happened. Never see that guy again.
Gotta learn
But
to just take the jump the second you see you see a potential friend.
hey, you.
Hi, potential friend.
Hi,
Let's
potential
let's
friend.
do something together.
Let's do something together. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what we do. We just go up to people. You look like a potential friend of mine. The idea of friends anyway, I guess we can end on this, but the idea of friends anyway is really strange because you go up to another human, another strange human and be like, "Hey, I think you and I could be friends." I don't know, like it's a kind of funny concept. You just find another human out there in the world and let's do this together now.
We have been running into them more, though. People who could be potential friends. Like that guy in the grocery store the other week that wanted to talk about racing randomly.
Potential friend.
Yeah, potential
Mm-hmm.
friend. They're
Potential
everywhere, people. Look around.
Yeah, friends all around. You just have to pick one from the tree like an apple.
Maybe that's our mildly alarmed quest for the week. We'll go try to make a friend. See what
Okay,
happens.
let's do that. You try to make a friend, I try to make a friend. We bring our friends to the show.
Yeah, except that I literally don't leave the house except to do
Sounds like a
things with
challenge
you.
I can win. I like it.
It's a challenge that neither of us is up to, but
Yeah.
if you, listener out there, have made a friend recently, drop some comments. Tell us how you did it. Maybe we can give each other pointers about how to make friends in the real world.
We can
Or
be
maybe
like
you
the
made a friend
sharks in
online that you
Nemo.
met in the real world and it actually worked out. Tell us that too.
Yeah.
Maybe one of these apps worked. Who knows? We found each other through an app. Doesn't mean you couldn't find a friend through a friend app.
It can work.
All right. Well, I guess we'll leave it there for this week and go
make some friends.
go make some friends. Yeah. You can find Mildly Alarmed on YouTube, YouTube Music, and Spotify every week on Tuesdays at 6 a.m. Please, if you enjoyed this conversation or any of our past ones, like or subscribe to the channel. We would very much appreciate it. But until next time.
Take it easy.